So IL-15, it's called a cytokine. It's basically a protein that activates the immune system. And so certain cells in the immune system, T cells, natural killer cells that may be able to recognize and target cancers. It's really just try to ramp those up and induce some immune response to tumors. And so what was unique about this is that we actually gave it inhaled. So because the tumors are in the lungs, we use nebulizers to inhale this so that we could get high levels in the lungs, but low levels everywhere else systemically. So we were able to treat with a higher dose and targeting the lung. Metastases are spread to the lung. We don't really have a very good response rate with chemotherapy by itself. The chemotherapy in this case was really meant to reset the immune system. Because we know chemotherapy, I mean, everybody's kind of heard chemotherapy, knocks down the immune system. Well, in this case, that's what we wanted to do because we almost wanted to reset it. We said, okay, well, it's not fighting the cancer, so let's reset it with chemotherapy, just one dose, and then we're going to try our immunotherapy.
All right, so going back to February of 2023, Lola has cancer. What was the diagnosis at that time, and really what was the outlook? I mean, what was the situation she was in when she walked in here?
So I mean, the cancer that Lola had, oral melanoma, is very aggressive cancer, and so when we're able to kind of control it locally, it typically has a survival of 6 months to a year. But once it spreads to other sites, particularly in the lung, usually what we're looking at, unfortunately, is a matter of a few months. So 3 months or less is usually what we look at once we have spread to the lungs.
So what was her prognosis when she walked in here?
Yeah, so her prognosis was probably about 3 months. So in this case, we were out of options, and you're right, we can do radiation to the primary site to try and palliate hospice type approach. Yeah. Or we can kind of swing for the fences and see if there's something that we can do to knock this back. So in this particular trial, it was one dose of chemotherapy, and 7 days later, we started the inhaled. The inhaled therapy, inhaled IL-15 is twice a day, lasts about 8 to 10 minutes each time, and it goes for 2 weeks.
She goes through it all. You do the next x-rays, I guess, is that the next scans?
Yeah, so I mean, Lola, we had some significant side effects to the chemotherapy. And so the chemotherapy, in dogs, we use chemotherapy. We usually do it, in hopes that we don't see side effects, which is a little bit different in people. But Lola had pretty severe side effects and ended up hospitalized for a few days. But we were able to go ahead and start the immunotherapy. And from there, we recheck x-rays to see what's happened with, in Lola's case, seemed like they had got a little bit bigger the first recheck.
Cancer is spreading.
Yeah. And so the owners and the clinicians decided that it's in Lola's best interest to pull off of the study and just go on to this palliative care, get the radiation, see if we can make her feel as good as she can for as long as we have.
So then the scan happens, though.
Yeah.
And something happened. I don't know if anybody expected it to happen at that point. What
so
did it show?
It was, when we give the palliative course, a lot of times, it's much like hospice, we give the palliative care and we kind of say goodbye and, hopefully we're going to see you back if all's well, but we also kind of know that, this may not last. So with Lola, that was kind of how Lola was discharged after the radiation, keep us in the loop, but we'll see what happens and we'll schedule a recheck in a few months and hopefully she's here for that. Well, when she came back in and got the scans, there were probably 50 different text streams going on. It was, radiology's looking at the films, we don't see anything, all the disease is gone. So that was pretty exciting. Text messages from us in the medical center and the entire team here.
You're a low-key guy. I imagine what you're saying right now is equivalent to you guys were jumping up and down celebrating because nobody expected this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're always anticipating that first scan. We have a second one that's usually scheduled, and those are the times where we're kind of on edge, saying, "Did this work? Did this work?"
But in this case,
And
nobody expected.
right, in this case, it was didn't work because this was the first time we had seen that there appeared to be progressive, growth, additional spread of disease, and then this kind of delayed response. It was the first time we had seen it here in dogs.
What does this mean? What does it mean for the future of care of pets?
In Lola's case, I think what's really interesting is that it's given us another direction to look at, in that, the radiation came in after the immunotherapy. And so while we tried to give chemotherapy beforehand, didn't seem to benefit any more than just the IL-15 alone, it does make us wonder now, okay, well, if we give the immunotherapy followed by radiation therapy, perhaps that may improve things as well.
At this point, it's not known. It's not known if it was the IL-15 chemo delayed, if it was what combination and what order you put it in.
Yep. And so I think that's where, in our patient population, in this case, the clinical trial through the Veterinary Center for Clinical Trials, it is, based in dogs. In this case, we can answer these questions pretty quickly, and we can kind of get these, clinical trials underway and completed much faster than they can in people. The disease, unfortunately, in dogs progresses much faster, and so we get our answer much quicker. We can move forward with these additional clinical trials. I mean, this is work that's ongoing right now.
Are we already in the next one?
We're not doing the inhaled. We're actually trying to develop a new form of the IL-15 that we think that may be more beneficial. So once we bring that back on board, then we're going to look at the combination of radiation therapy.
All right. So where do we go from here when it comes to humans?
Yeah, I think we still have some questions that need to be answered before this goes into people. And again, the path that we're choosing right now, the IL-15 that we used was a human IL-15, so it's a human protein. And the reason why we only use it for 2 weeks is because the dog's immune system is going to recognize that as a foreign protein. So what we're trying to do is come up with a canine form of that IL-15 so that we can give it longer. The immune system will recognize it and destroy it. So we'd like to know if we give it longer than 2 weeks, we're going to see better responses. So that's the first part. And then the second part will be if we combine this with radiation therapy, if we even do better.
Right.
So once we have that information, we really need to have all of the information in hand before we try and bring it to a human clinical trial. Again, these dogs, there's no other option that's been shown to be helpful in these dogs with advanced disease.
That's going to feel pretty good.
It does, yeah. It's exciting. I mean, obviously, we like to celebrate our successes and celebrate with Lola and her family, but we also recognize the amount of work and effort and how committed all of the pet owners are that come into these clinical trials. We want to do better for them. This is one example of clinical trials here at Davis, and the vet school, the outstanding faculty and residents that we have here and students. There are many clinical trials, not just in cancer, but there's trials trying to save or restore sight and vision. There's infectious disease trials. There's trials that have shown being able to cure viral diseases in cats. So we're just, as part of the Veterinary Center for Clinical Trials, is we run trials for the entire hospital. So I think we like to give hope. And I know there's that, we're going to experiment on our pets mentality, but we really, we make sure that we have informed owner consent, that owners are on board, and that really it's just when hope is lost, we want to be able to provide something.